What's up, guys? I'm back on another question that you guys used to ask me on FRL and social media. And it's what are my favorite books? And so I guess I'm not going to kind of answer my favorite books. Look, I got somebody behind me. Daniel Cormier is jealous of my book collection. DC, don't be salty. I know you love all my books. So I'm going to talk about 5 that I read. So I have small group practices, like kind of like private lessons where I'll work with a group of 4 or 6 or 8 kids, and I will assign them books to read, and then we'll discuss the books. I'll tell them, hey, go read chapters 1 through 6 or whatever. Next Tuesday we'll rehash that, and then I make all of them contribute, right? So I need to know that they do have to, in fact, do the reading. I have not had to kick anyone out of practice because I haven't done the reading, but I have had to threaten to do that. And I'll credit my brother with this, but my brother said, well, if you can teach people how to think the right way, teaching them how to wrestle the right way is a lot easier, which I agree with that sentiment fully, right? So if I can teach them to think the right way, then teaching them to wrestle is going to be pretty simple. So here's the 5 books, and I'll tell you why I pick each one of them. And like I said, we break it down in the groups, we read them. We've done other books in these 5, but these will be 5 that I try to use with all my groups. Okay, so the problem is I only have 3 of the 5 books because I have this problem where I give books away and then I forget to get them back. I'm an idiot, I know. So some of these books I probably bought the damn book 10 times because I'm like, oh, it's a good book, take it. And I give it to someone, and then I forget to get it back. It's like, oh my God, I'm so dumb. Where's that book? And then I gotta buy it again. I gotta buy it again. I gotta buy it again. So, nonetheless, okay, number 1, I don't have a book, is Mindset by Dweck. So I think this one's foundational. I think this is important not just for wrestling, but for anything in life. You either have a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. You have one or the other. Really, all research has proven that growth mindset is a significantly better way to live your life. I could go through all the reasons, but I think you guys should read the book for yourself. So I always start with that one because I think it's so foundational. And if you read any other like sports psych books, almost 100% of them will cite Dweck's work in there because it's like a building block to me. Like once you understand that, it gives you the the ability to understand a lot of other stuff. So I would start with Mindset by Dweck. That's number 1. Okay, this is number 2, Chop Wood, Carry Water. Okay, and so this is a great book. I've read it multiple times. Worked on the thing with many groups. So what I would say about this book is it is fictional. In fact, some of the kids don't understand that. It's hilarious. It's a fictional book, but it really, really accurately outlines the path someone will need to travel to have great success. Okay, so fictional book, but it kind of tells a real story. Like this is the real story of the journey someone is going to have to go through to reach an elite level at a skill. And I think it does a great job at that. I think it breaks it up into really appropriate lessons. So many great quotes in this book. I'm sure I've done plenty of mental Mondays off of this book. I think it's really, really awesome. So, Chop Wood, Carry Water, if you haven't read it, it's simple. It's an easy read. It's not a ton of pages. A lot of great lessons in that one. Third one. I also don't have this one. Again, I probably gave it to someone. It's Twin Thieves. Ryan Woods recommended this to me, and now I read it with a bunch of my athletes. Twin Thieves, Fear of Failure and Fear of Fitting In. And to me, this one is more about like how to work as a team structure, right? And so wrestling, it is an individual sport, but obviously you are going to need to work with other people around you, teammates, coaches, etc., etc. And so I think, it's fictional, but it does correctly and accurately outline the struggles people have working together, the struggles people have in athletic pursuits. I think it's a great book. I think it brings up a lot of important topics that teenagers are probably dealing with, but they wouldn't want to bring up in their own lives. They wouldn't say, here's something I have in my own life. But when it talks about in the book, about, oh, Billy in the book is having this problem, it's a lot easier for them to talk about, right? So I think that's a great book. We're talking about how to get along as kind of a bunch of people in a unit who are all chasing down their goals, how to fit together functionally. It's great. Okay, so number 4, Talent Code. I love this book. This book is not fictional. This guy, Daniel Coyle, he goes around the world and he tries to find these talent hotspots. So a lot of what we do at AWA is kind of based around what Daniel Coyle did, because he literally went and found the places in the world who were putting out an abnormal amount of really, really elite athletes, and he tried to deduce what they were all doing similarly. Like, right, why are all these people getting these great results? What are they all doing that's the same? And so, it's like Curacao in baseball, and there's a Russian tennis academy, and South Korean golf, and so he goes and finds these people. So I think this is a factual story about how to do that, right? So we as coaches have taken notes from that and said, okay, this is how he says it should be done. Let's try to do it this way. And for the athletes, they're getting to see like which qualities are important, and kind of for us why we do things a certain way, right? Because he's going to describe them better than we're going to describe them. So he's describing kind of our system or how we function. So I'm going to recap before we go to the last one. Mindset, that's a foundational work on how to think about development and growth. And then we have Chop Wood, Carry Water, fictional book, but is amazing in telling the story about what it's going to take to achieve as a great athlete. You have Twin Thieves, that's going to talk about how groups need to work together to be as efficient as possible and achieve great results. And you have the Talent Code, which is a factual book about a guy who went and studied these talent hotspots all over the world. And then the last one that I read with them, I love this one. This one is one of my favorites. It's called The Rise of Superman by Stephen Kotler. Such a great book. So now this one is about ultimate human performance. So once we figure out the way to train and we want to go down that path and we figure out how to work together to make ourselves as efficient as possible, and then we understand that we read the Talent Code, we understand it's going to work, we are building ourselves into hopefully an elite athlete. But an elite athlete still has to compete elitely, right? So getting good at something, wrestling, is a skill. Competing is also a skill. And so this book, The Rise of Superman, they essentially talk about how to reach the flow state as many times as possible or as efficiently as possible. And so what you're doing there is that as a wrestler, you're figuring out how to unlock your utmost potential when you're competing. Because if you get really, really good at wrestling, but you can never unlock it and you can never compete as an elite individual, it's going to suck. You're gonna hate the fact that you have this inside you and you can't bring it out when you actually need to bring it out. And so I think this book, it really kind of clearly details that. What he does is he follows around extreme sports athletes. So the cover is I believe that's a base jumper. Surfing, skydiving, skateboarding, etc., etc. And the argument he makes, which I tend to believe is true, is that these guys, they must find the flow state in order to survive, right? And then once they find the flow state, they kind of get addicted to this feeling, and so they continually try to do it, and it pushes them to higher and higher heights. So if we don't know what the flow state is, I guess I probably should define that. That is when your skill level accurately meets the challenge level, right? So a surfer in a big wave, well, once he surfed a 12-foot wave, that's easy. Now he needs to go bigger, and now he needs to go bigger, right? And so if the challenge level is below your skill level, then you're not going to be in the flow state because you're going to be kind of bored by the experience. If the challenge level is way above your skill level, you're not going to be in the flow state because you're going to be intimidated by the challenge or you're going to be getting smashed. And so you have to find that fine line where your skill level meets the challenge level. So this book is all about finding that flow state, finding your peak performance. So those are the 5 books I love to read with my athletes. I think they give kind of like an accurate step-by-step process on how to become an elite athlete and how to perform like an elite athlete. So I hope you guys like them. Check them out. They're great. I couldn't recommend them more. We will put them all in the comment, not in the comments. What does it say? The caption. That's what we'll put them in. So I'll put all the books in the caption. Peace. All right.